Hello and welcome to day 3 of the international conference here in Edinburgh. You're probably asking me, Georgia, what international conference is that? Well, this is the IATEFL. So welcome to the IATEFL conference. And you're also probably thinking, Georgia, who's here with you? I'm very happy and honored to introduce our new IATEFL president, Chris Graham. Chris, welcome.
Hi, Georgia. Thanks for having me. Thanks for inviting me along.
Very
and
exciting.
for clarifying where we were in case anyone had forgotten.
It's very exciting to have you here.
Thank you.
And congratulations on your new role.
Thank you very much.
Chris, for the people watching us from home, and I should tell you that we have got people watching us from wonderful and many different countries. So we have got people from Argentina, Peru, Colombia, Costa
Georgia,
Rica.
you should have put them in alphabetical order.
Oh, I should, but
we won't.
where's the fun in
just
that?
For the moment, we won't do that now.
So we have got a lot of people watching us from home. So can you please give us some information about who you are and your journey in ELT?
Well, my journey is like many people. I think I started teaching English initially in a private language school in the UK many years ago. Not telling you how many years ago. We'll kind of leave the numbers out, I think. And then I fell in love and went to live in Italy for 3 years, teaching English, and then back to the UK. And then I worked in London for International House for a while in Piccadilly, which people of a certain age will remember the school in Piccadilly, I think. And then I decided I wanted to get involved in educational consultancy, and I ran my own educational consultancy business for about 15 years.
Wonderful.
We were involved in running projects abroad, recruiting teachers, writing materials, all sorts of stuff. And also in parallel with that, I had a couple of language schools of my own in the Caucasus, in Georgia.
There you go.
Armenia, Azerbaijan, a little bit in Armenia, but mainly Georgia and Azerbaijan and Kazakhstan as well.
Wonderful.
I did that.
And what is your connection to IATEFL? So how did your IATEFL journey begin?
My first IATEFL conference was at the University of Warwick, and I can't remember the year, but it was my university, so I enjoyed going there. And I drove there in my little red Fiat Panda all the way from London. And I don't remember much about the conference. What I can tell you was it was much smaller, because it was on a university campus and it didn't have anywhere near the facilities we have now. So the numbers, I don't know how many there were there, but it was very small. Early days.
I can imagine, yes.
Yeah. Remember, IATEFL it's not far off his 60th birthday. So I don't know how many years ago that conference was, but it certainly was nowhere near 60. So, yeah.
Exactly. And what brings you back every year?
Lots of things. One is actually, I think probably this applies to many people, it's just nice to catch up with friends and colleagues and stuff from around the world. Because the problem with the LT is that we're scattered.
That's very true.
I know people who work in so many different countries and, meet online sometimes or occasionally, socially, but ultimately here. And in fact, this event, I met 2 people I worked with 10 and 11 years ago, respectively. I haven't seen them for then, and bang, here I've seen them. Made friends, had coffee with them. They even recognized me.
Oh, that's incredible.
Said you haven't changed, which is not true. So I think there's that. But it's just, for me, the whole buzz of IATEFL. I mean, it's, it's huge. I know some people feel it's quite industrial in a sense, and it probably is. But just the excitement of it all. And the way that teachers can, there's something for everybody, really, whatever you're interested in, whatever age you teach, what level you teach, what your challenges are, whatever your role is, there is something for you.
Exactly.
You've got to find it, but it's here.
Exactly, yeah. Now, as the new president of IATEFL, what is your number one goal for the future of IATEFL?
Well, I think one of the number one thing for me is to listen to what members and our partners, what they want to do, what they want. And I have conversations with people along the lines of, what can IATEFL do for you? But equally, what can you do for IATEFL? Because we are largely volunteer-run organisations. So I'll always say to people, yes, we could do that. But on the other hand, if you've got some spare time, maybe you could do this. So I think it's listening to people. We do have a number of mechanisms for doing that. But I wander around a bit and chat to people and try and pick up what the sense is, what they're positive about. There's always a few things people say, oh, I'm not quite sure about that. That's fine. We can manage that. But generally, I have to say this year, I've had loads of positive feedback.
Yes.
from a lot of teachers, because there's a lot of teachers here.
I must say the vibe here in the conference
Totally.
is so positive, so welcoming. Here in the exhibition hall, it's incredible because we keep seeing people talk to each other. We keep seeing people reuniting, people who've met at the conference. So it really is a family.
And but also the sheer numbers. I mean, this venue is great. It's quite big. We can accommodate a lot of people, but just it's a huge number of people, and that's great. And it's really buzzy, and as you say, here in the exhibition area, but also out in the different rooms. Yeah, it's great. I'm enjoying it. I'm a bit tired, but I'm enjoying it.
But it's a good kind of tiredness, isn't it?
Not when I got up this morning, 6:30. It wasn't a good kind of tiredness, but yes, it is a good kind of tiredness. Yeah.
Now, Chris, before you go, because I know that you're a very busy man, and you have to go to different sessions and meetings. I know that you're passionate about a specific area of ELT, and that you have got a great initiative coming up as well. Do you want to share a sneak peek to the world?
Looks like I need to. Yeah.
Please.
Well, I wouldn't actually say it's an area of ELT. I would say it's an area of human existence. That is what we're doing to the planet and everything around that. So yeah, one of my passions is sustainability. And obviously the language learning community globally has, I think, a great opportunity. But my thinking about sustainability is that I think with ELT we tend to talk a lot about climate change, which is important, but sustainability is much broader than that. Equity of access to education, for example, is something that we need to think so much about. Just one example relevant to us as educators. So for me, in the next year or so, I hope to stretch our activities and understandings of sustainability, not away from climate change, but beyond climate change into the other areas of sustainability and the crises that are there as well. But I'm actually quite optimistic. I mean, Green IATEFL, which we've now launched, is up and running, and as I said at the AGM, it's very hard to measure what we're doing. How do you know if you're being successful? One way is, are people talking about it? And as I said, I have a small network of informants who are going to talks and are saying, oh yeah, she talks about sustainability. Oh, she mentioned that, even though it's not in the title. So I think it's beginning to kind of pervade the ether and spread. And that I think is a really good measure.
Absolutely.
But there's a lot to do. And just to remind you, not just what can IATEFL do for you, but what can you do for IATEFL? And we need support and help and input.
Excellent. And of course, we're going to continue the conversation on sustainability on the 22nd of April in the IATEFL live show with Chris and more organizations focusing on sustainability in education in general. So that's very, truly exciting, isn't it?
It's all happening step by step.
Absolutely. So, Chris, thank you very much for joining our IATEFL live show here from the conference. Before you go, can you give us one adjective that describes the vibe of the conference?
I would say it's got to be positive, really. It's not a very exciting adjective, really, but I think that covers it. There's a lot of smiles. I'm looking at people there coming and smiling as they walk past that. Amazing. Yeah, let's go with positive. Yeah.
Amazing. Chris, thank you so much. Now we're going to find out more about Edinburgh with, of course, Nikki's Edinburgh videos, were always a very good cultural videos for you to watch from home. And we're coming back for more speakers.
Did you know Princes Street Gardens were once a lock? Drained in the 18th century, they now offer a peaceful retreat in the heart of Edinburgh. Stroll through the gardens, admire the floral clock, and take in the stunning views of Edinburgh Castle. With seasonal events like concerts and festivals, there's always something happening in the gardens. Princes Street Gardens are the perfect spot to relax and soak in the beauty of Edinburgh. Hello and welcome back. And I am joined now by Jay from Pearson. Hello, Jay.
Hello.
How's it going?
Very good. Good to be here.
It is. And how's your conference been so far?
Oh, it's been brilliant. I mean, it's been exciting seeing all the folks that have been here, the feedback we've had on some of the things we've been showcasing, and the engagement. Really, it's been it's been amazing.
Good. So Jay, you work for Pearson. Can you tell us what you do in the company?
Yeah, sure. So I'm in our English language learning division. I'm looking after our teaching tools. So working with educators to really understand, how do we help us as teachers to improve our teaching journey. So I'm very much in the space of creating digital products using AI to help teachers.
Perfect. And what has Pearson been showcasing on their stand at IATEFL this year?
Yeah, we've got a really exciting product, and I'll say that because it's my baby, so I've got a bit of a bias, but we're here to show Smart Lesson Generator. So it's an AI-enabled product that helps teachers create supplementary lesson activities in seconds.
Oh, wow. So does it help you with the plan, or does it create the activities, or both?
Yeah, bit both activities. So what it does at the moment is, we've got two flows. One, if you're a Pearson user, courseware user, you can quickly create supplementary materials off the back of that courseware and make it more relevant for your students. You've got differentiation baked in, so you can have stretch remediation. And if you're not a Pearson courseware user, or you just want something really specific to your students, let's say you're talking about global trade wars, which might be topical, you're able to do that with us.
Okay. And so how does it facilitate the teacher? What challenges does it help the teacher negotiate?
Yeah, great question. So we've when I first joined Pearson last year, I spent a lot of time doing lesson observations, speaking to my teaching community, and there were 3 or 4 key things that came up. So one was around time, which we all know and love. Teachers don't have a lot of time.
Nope.
A lot of that time goes on lesson planning, generating activities, ultimately not teaching. So that was one key thing, time. Second was around relevance. So when it comes to courseware or materials, you might have a courseware, but it's not relevant anymore. It's not as relevant to your students. Or it's not topically relevant. So how do we create something that is, ultimately more relevant and engaging to their students? And teachers are looking at online resources, using AI, or saying, hey, Pearson, I need more of this thing. So that was the second. And I think the third one was around trust. So we know teachers are looking at, we're all using AI to some extent. We're using other resources online, but there was a question of the level of trust in that. Is a level appropriate of the activities I'm using or the output? Does it have kind of pedagogy baked into it? And how do I fourth one, how do I really understand what's happening in this wild west of AI products? And I don't want to have to go to multiple sources in order to kind of get that. So there were kind of 4 themes. One was that time spent on all of this stuff, non-teaching tasks. There was a relevance of the materials that we're trying to get. There was a trust, and then there was this sense of overwhelm where there's, I'm hit with multiple products all over the place. How do I choose what's right?
I mean, yeah, that pretty much that is what we're faced with, isn't it, at the moment? A lot of people have been going up to the stand and sampling the lesson generator. What has the response been from the teachers so far at the conference?
Yeah, a lot of excitement and engagement, which is brilliant. So we've had a lot of great feedback around the direct link to our courseware. So you're able to generate activities right off the back of the courseware. The pedagogy that's gone into it. So in the same way that our course books have our learning strategy teams looking at that, creating the content to make sure it's relevant, that's all baked into our product. And then around the leveling. So we have the GSC that kind of underpins it, Global Scale of English. And that granularity and specificity of the leveling has been one of the key things also that people have said. And we've had great feedback to say, hey, have you thought about X? And we're kind of collating that and thinking, how do we evolve from here? This is our launch. This is our kind of big public launch.
So, gosh, this is a brand new product.
This is brand new. So we've been, we've been evolving it over the last year. We had our pilot last year. We've then started to roll it out more broadly. Over time, we're going to hopefully improve it and iterate it and, really bake in all of our teachers' needs.
Okay. And why should a teacher choose the lesson generator rather than any other AI tool that's available at the moment?
Yeah, no, I mean, there's lots of great tools out there that do great jobs. I think the thing we are trying to focus on is How do we give you that convenience whereby it's linked to your courseware? And if you're not one of our courseware users, still give you that value through that convenience, everything in one place. The second thing for us is the leveling. We know if you've played around with ChatGPT or otherwise, the leveling of some of that output can be off. So how do we give you consistency in that leveling? And the third is around our pedagogy that goes into it. So in the same way that our courseware has activities, have that baked in. So you should have something which is level appropriate, pedagogically aligned, linked to the courseware or not. If you don't have a courseware, that's fine. And you can do it in seconds.
Okay. What's courseware? I'm not.
Sorry,
does that mean
our course books?
Oh,
so let's
right,
say you're
okay.
a user of Roadmap or Gold XP, which is one of our books.
Oh, brilliant! Which is very, very popular among the teachers, certainly. So, what the lesson generator produces can relate to what they perhaps have covered in class with the course books.
Yeah, exactly. Relate to it and extend it.
Yeah,
so, we have
brilliant.
teachers saying, how do I get more writing activities? How do you make it topically relevant to my students? If I'm in Mexico, I've got the Day of the Dead coming up. I want an activity that's relevant for them. And this is our way of putting the power in the hands of teachers to do that.
Okay. And if anyone was watching at home right now and thinking, sounds like a bit of me, wouldn't mind trying that out, how can they access it?
Yeah, so we've got, one, if you're a user of our courseware, our books, we're turning that on. So over time, you'll see it in your portal. But if you're not, no biggie, we've got you covered. We've got demo access to the product. So we have a link that we can share, hopefully, with you all, where you can go and get 60 days access to the product and have a play with it, look around, give us feedback, let us know your thoughts. Hopefully you can start using it in your activities and your lesson planning today.
Okay, that sounds very easy. Okay, that's brilliant. And is it better for a certain level of teacher, or does it matter how experienced or inexperienced you are in terms of using this tool?
Yeah, no, great question. Ultimately it's applicable to all. What we're trying to do is make it convenient for all teachers.
Yeah.
If you're a power user of ChatGPT and you've got your prompts all ready to roll and you're refining stuff, great. This could still give you value. I'd say, the 90% of educators who maybe not the kind of power end of users, this is for you. Like, we've got everything in there such that you don't have to mess around with multiple products, navigating and crafting prompts. It's all there ready to roll for you. So I would say give it a go. If you're feeling a bit overwhelmed by everything that's happening in the kind of AI for education world, we've got you covered.
Okay. And is the interface really simple and easy to use?
Super simple. That's actually someone on the topic of feedback, someone came and said, this feels like the Apple of the products of the world in terms of the simplicity of the user experience. So high praise, and we hope we can live up to that. But yeah, super simple and should be intuitive. No training needed for it. Come and have a go, 60-day access, and you can have a play with it.
That sounds perfect. And it sounds great, doesn't it? If you've covered something, but students need a bit more practice of that thing, and then they can go to the generator and hopefully get some extra material for that extra bit of practice that they might need.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. Jay, thank you very much for coming to talk to us about it today. Best of luck with the product.
Thank you for having me.
And
Pleasure.
enjoy the rest of the conference.
That's great. Thank you for having me. That's all. Cheers.
Ready? Yes. So, you start first.
Okay. So hi, I'm Astrid. I'm from Germany, and this is my, I think, 6th IATEFL conference so far.
Hello everybody, I'm Shun, and I'm from Vietnam originally, but now I'm based in Manchester. This is my first conference attendance.
Yeah, what do we like about it? First of all, meeting people. We've met here in the first plenary.
Yeah, it's really lovely to see Astrid here and some other colleagues as well. I call them colleagues because they're from the same field. That's amazing to connect with people.
Exactly.
That's what I think.
Yeah, connecting with people, amazing input. Plenary, yesterday's plenary was just incredible. So yeah, and the weather, of course. Scottish sun, amazing.
Yeah, I think what I really like about the conference is that we get to connect with a lot of people from a globe, from around the globe, and also we learn from each other a lot. It's inspiring to see that outside our circle, there's so many people. They're doing amazing things and meaningful things to the world, and it's kind of like make me feel more like feel more humble because maybe I feel like I've done a good job at my workplace, but actually there's so much to learn, and we can never reach the ceiling. Yeah.
Hi, and I'm back with David and Haneen. For the people who don't know you, I think you're a regular guest, but for the people who don't know you, can you both introduce yourselves?
Hello, good to be here. My name is Haneen and I am from Gaza City, Palestine. Thank you for having me on the show. I am a teacher trainer, and I am also a PhD researcher doing work around playback theatre, identity and cultural understanding in the UK at the moment. Over to you, David.
I'm David Heathfield, and the person I've learned most from over the last couple of years is Haneen Khaled Jadala, my colleague.
Now, you're both here because you're going to be talking about storytelling. Storytelling is very important. We all know storytelling. It's mentioned in our course books, but you're the experts. And you do a lot with storytelling. Can I ask you about the projects that you currently have going on with storytelling?
I have been involved with storytelling and drama and theatre for 8-9 years now, started in Gaza, and I was inspired by lots of initiatives, projects and people who inspired me. One of them is David Heathfield. When I did the CREST course, and I learned a lot about activities related to implementing storytelling in the classroom. So one of the projects that I did with the British Council Palestine, and came across in a very hard time for us people in Gaza, teachers and children, as Voices Across Worlds, and it was supported by the British Council Palestine and implemented in Gaza, in Cameroon, in Malaysia, in Greece, and for children who managed to get out of Gaza to Egypt. So we created a network for the children to come together, to tell personal narratives, to share these stories among this network of schools and educators, and to perform back each other's plays on Zoom.
Okay, so you had kids from all over the world tell stories to each other?
Yeah, personal narratives. So, for example, we had a team from Palestine in Gaza, and I'm going to give a big shout out to my colleague Luzanne Matter, who managed to do that at the most difficult circumstances. So we had the team from Gaza and we had a team in Cameroon.
Mm-hmm.
So the Palestinian children performed a personal narrative coming from Cameroon, describing a struggle, and the Cameroonian children performed back a personal narrative coming from the Palestinian children. And the stories really varied. So we had stories talking about the struggles, the life situations, but we also had stories talking about dreams, talking about social media effect. And you will be astonished to know that the girl from Gaza shared a story which talked about phone addiction and how she wanted to get rid of that and help future generations to be more in communication and cooperation with each other. So the project was more than about language development and communication. It was also about raising confidence. It was also about how these young people are prepared, empowered to take this world in a much better place in the future, because we're doing that as educators, as storytellers, as teachers, because we wanted to care about the future generations, because today we are responsible for their future, for caring about them, for connecting them, but tomorrow they'll be the ones who are leading us and caring for that for us. Thank you very much.
But that sounds lovely. So just to get this straight, you had people of kids from different countries tell stories, personal stories, dreams, surroundings, anything, and then they told it to someone from another country, different context, and they were going to enact the story
back to each other.
So it's focusing on telling stories, listening, reenacting, empathy.
Yeah, and also it's celebrating identity. It's fostering cultural understanding. It's raising awareness about young people's struggles, no matter where they come from. And it's teaching them about each other's contexts in a very artistic way, because we know that sometimes when the truth is cloaked by a story or a play, people love watching it and listening to it.
True.
The project produced 10 plays, which are all available online. the teachers from Cameroon, Nani and Anistine, the teachers from Palestine, Lamia, Rashida, Lausanne and Diyar, and the teacher from Greece, Evi Karidi, they all got together, and Dayang from Malaysia, and they talked about their methodological presentations of doing this project online. And the project will come out of a publication very soon, and it will be free accessible to anyone around the world. It will contain a resource of stories for the teachers to implement such methodologies like intercultural playback theatre online or even in a classroom. So it will be a collection of stories, and it will contain scripts and notes on how to do that in the classroom.
I love that. Where can we find it and when?
The British Council Palestine will promote it, and I am going as a representative of IATEFL to send a copy to IATEFL. But we are very honored that David Heathfield wrote the foreword for this publication. So David was involved in the project as my advisor as well. So I was telling him about the project. I was taking his advice on certain bits, but he wrote the foreword in the end, and he reflected on our involvement as colleagues and what does it mean to him and the children to do storytelling with kids from Palestine and to connect them with their peers around the world.
That must have been a lovely project to contribute to. And can I just say, so know that this is coming up, even if we don't have a specific date yet. If you're looking for a book with stories from kids from Cameroon, Palestine, Greece and Malaysia, turned into scripts, like ready-use materials to use in all our classes all over the world, keep an eye out on the British Council Palestine, and they will tell us where and when we can download this for free.
Yeah, and Professor Steve Mann from the University of Warwick was an academic advisor, so he fed in insights on the project, and he will help in promoting it in the end. So thank you, Steve, for being with us.
And then, David, aside from doing the forward, you're always very, very busy, doing lots of projects, lots of storytelling. Is there anything you want to talk about that before I start begging you to tell me a story? Because, of course, when you're here, I kind of want to hear a story.
Okay. Well, what I'm going to talk about is deeply connected to what Hanine's just been talking about. The teachers that are involved in her project are mostly teachers that I've got to know very well. You mentioned Lausanne, Diyar and Lamia. Hello to all of you. And well, there's lots of teachers from Palestine, mostly from Gaza, who I've got to know really well over the last few years. I started something on a free platform called the World Storytelling Cafe, called Young International Storytellers. So young people from Gaza and all around the world came online and told stories.
Yeah.
And now what we're doing together, Hanine and I, is a joint project, and it's totally voluntary and spontaneous, is getting people all around the world to listen back to those stories that were told, learn those stories and retell them in the children's names. And believe it or not, quite a lot of new stories have come to us, you know, in the last year and a half, in spite of really, really difficult circumstances. Children want their stories to be heard. And I've got a photograph of some of the children telling stories from Gaza online on Zoom during pandemic times and up to 2023. And here I've got a photograph of two sisters, Shafa and Hala, who are still in Gaza and who have managed to share stories from inside Gaza. It's getting more difficult, and I often communicate with them. But I want to tell a story that I learned, one of the many stories that Hala Muntasalem told. And she's 18 now. She's desperate to continue her studies and become a doctor, and she's working really hard. It's amazing, isn't it? How kids inside Gaza, in spite of everything, are still working and studying with, you know, putting everything into their future. It's quite remarkable. So I'd love to tell a story that I learned from Hala, if that's okay.
Please do.
Anchor, yeah, I think I'll put this.
Can I?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, let's not put down the world because it's very fragile and needs to be looked after.
The world does need to be looked after.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so here's a story that I learned from Hala Muntasalem. It's a Palestinian folktale that she learned in her family. So, Kanya Makan, dim as a man. This is for all of you, and especially you Palestinian teachers. Kanya Makan, Fi'adim as a man. There was once a milk seller, and he wasn't wealthy, but he made enough. He would take half a bucket of milk every day from his home to the market, and on the way he passed by the river. But he noticed in the market that some of the other traders had more than he did. Some of the other traders had a donkey, or some of them had a cart, or as Hala said, some of them had a donkey and a cart, and he was jealous. And he thought, I wish I had more. And as he was thinking this one day, as he was walking to the market, as he walked by that river, he thought, if I filled my bucket so that it wasn't just half full of milk, but completely full of milk, even though the milk would be diluted, then I might make more money. So he dipped his bucket in the river so it was full to the brim, and he carried the bucket full of diluted milk to the market, and there he sold it. And none of his customers noticed that this milk was less creamy than it normally was. And he, by the end of the day, he had sold it all and he had lots of money. So he started walking home with the empty bucket, and after all the busy day, he got to the river and it was hot, and he thought he would rest under a tree. And as he rested under the tree, he counted up all the coins he had made that day. And believe it or not, would you believe it, Anka and Haneen, how many coins? He had twice as many coins as ever before. He had made double the money, and he was really pleased with himself. I can continue in this enterprise. And he fell asleep in the hot sun, well, in the shade of the tree. But when he woke up, he found that his purse with all of the coins in was gone. Noise up in the tree, and up in the branches of a tree there was a monkey, and the monkey was holding the purse and laughing, and he said, give me my purse back, give me my purse back. And the monkey, laughing, picked a coin out of the purse and threw it down so it hit the milk seller on his head and then landed on the ground. Give me my purse back, give me my purse back. And then the monkey took another coin and threw it so it landed in the river. Give me back my purse. And then the next coin fell on his head, the next coin in the river, the next coin on his head, and the next coin in the river. And so it went on until every coin had been thrown from the purse, and then the monkey lost interest and dropped the empty purse. Well, the milk seller gathered up all the coins that were around him, counted them, and you know what? There were exactly the same number of coins as he had ever earned before in a day selling milk. And he suddenly thought, this is a sign. This is a sign. That monkey, somehow, that monkey has passed on a sign from above. I shouldn't be so greedy. I should accept what I have. And I should be honest and not treat my customers unfairly. Milk is for milk and water is for water. This is what he said. Well, he told his story and how he learned his ways, and he returned and his customers trusted him because his milk was rich and creamy and he lived well. But this saying, Hala told me, has become a saying in Gaza and in Palestine that people say as a reminder to be honest, milk is for milk and water is for water. So thank you, Hala Muntasalem, for that gorgeous Palestinian story. And if you want to listen to this story, go to my YouTube channel and find the playlist, Tell a Child in Gaza's Tale. And so far, this is a completely voluntary project with hundreds of people all around the world, children and adults, retelling stories. You can be part of it. And Haneen and I are exploring ways at the moment of how this project might be developed into educational resources. We're exploring sources of funding, but it's going to happen and it's going to be amazing. So thank you all for your stories.
Thank you both for your stories. And I love a good story. I love learning a new expression. I'm going to remember that. Milk is for milk, water is for water. And thank you both so much.
Thank you. Thanks very much.
Thank you. Thank you for agreeing to interview us. It's a great pleasure to be here.
Yes.
Hi, I'm Ben Knight. I'm from Oxford University Press. And I really loved the plenary by Catherine Walter on the first day, where she looked at the differences and changes over the last 50 years of ELT.
Yes.
Hi, my name is Benjamin Swan. I'm from the UK. I'm based in the northeast of England. This is my first IATEFL, and I've loved everything about it. The talks have been exceptional. It's a wonderful place to network, and the learning has been really, really grand. So I've really had a great time. It's a great place.
Hello, and we are back with Andy and Kathy from Language Cert. Hi, guys.
Hello.
Hello, how's it going?
Yeah, brilliant. Thank you very much. Really, really enjoying it, the conference and the city.
It's beautiful, isn't it? Have you been here since Monday?
Yeah, we've both been here since Monday, enjoying Edinburgh and the conference.
Are you tired yet?
Yeah, doesn't show.
No, you look fantastic. No, there's honestly, both of you look great. Very, very alive. Okay, for anyone who's watching at home, can you tell us a bit about what you do, what Language Cert does?
Thank you. Okay, so Language Cert is an English language assessment organisation, but we're part of a wider organisation called People Cert. Head office is in Athens in Greece, and really they've made their name through qualifications in business and IT. So they have a couple of very big global brands, such as the Prince 2, project management, and ITIL, which is an IT qualification. Language Cert is a little bit newer, and we offer language assessments in various domains, such as school-based examinations, including young learners. We have work-based, work readiness English assessments as well. And a big focus has been on academic English assessment as well. So our Language Cert academic qualification, which is used extensively for higher education. I'm a commercial manager in the organisation, and Kathy?
I'm an assessment development specialist, and I've been working on developing the Language Cert academic qualification for university admission Andy was just talking about.
All right, brilliant. Okay. So yeah, I mean, I can imagine that the academic side, for anyone wanting to get into university, it's very useful to know that Language Cert is one of the certificates that they could do. Definitely. Okay. What have people been saying to you at the conference?
I think to build on the last point you've just said, it is quite a crowded arena with various sort of assessments, some of which have been in play for a long, long time. So some of the conversations have been really refreshing in terms of people are looking at perhaps something a little different and how we might offer that difference, which we've had conversations around the fact that, you know, the assessment is very focused on the individual and their specific abilities to be able to communicate in English, which will actually serve them well at, you know, once they get to university. So it's not a test just for a test's sake. It's very much a proof of the fact that they have the English language skills now to be able to thrive and survive in an academic English environment. So that's been, you know, really kind of very engaging. We've also spoke about the fact that people are very interested in the fact that we offer an online proctored version of the test as well. So people don't necessarily have to go to a test center, which really promotes accessibility.
I mean, I'm quite interested in this because I think it makes sense, doesn't it, to have an online version of the test so that people can take it from the, you know, a centre near them or their own home.
Yeah.
So how does it work with proctoring online? This is very, I think interesting.
Yeah, so we actually have a unit that, you know, it's set up specifically for that. It also works for other qualifications as well. So it's not just for language. So we have a wider, longer expertise in that area. So of course, you know, what people are very sort of focused on is the security around it. So of course we have, you know, 2 cameras in place. You know, we do ID checks, of course, at the beginning of it, that the room is you know, marked as clear, etc. So, you know, it really just gives another option for people. So of course, in the geographies that we all work in, you know, there are massive distances between where a candidate may be and a test center, etc. So it's just trying to give a different option and accessibility for it. So yeah, there's a unit that will kind of do all the security around it, check all the IDs and so on, and then do all the proctoring and the monitoring as students go through it. that way. I've done it myself. You know, the usual sort of, I'm not brilliant at examinations. It's quite an irony, really, but it was a very comfortable experience in terms of I was in a familiar environment doing it, but you know, there was somebody at the end that could help me, that could guide me and take me through the process.
I think that's incredibly helpful for people at home to know as well that these options are out there and they exist. Okay. Kathy, can you tell us, what have you been doing here in Edinburgh then?
We've had an extraordinarily busy time. So on day one, we kicked things off by Language Cert sponsored an opening night Ceilidh, which was great fun. Got everyone together doing some traditional Scottish dance.
Did you dance?
I certainly did. But I think I might have been one of the only ones from the team to to enjoy that. Then we've had 2 academic sessions that we've run. The first by our head of research, Lida Lampropoulou, on speaking preparation time and how to enable test takers to really maximise the benefit of their test preparation time. And then a second one from Dr. Sylvia Karastathi, who's our head of teacher support at Language Cert, and she spoke to us about how you can use video production part of your classroom practice, encouraging students to create their own videos and what that means in this kind of attention economy. So that was a really fascinating discussion as well. Both generated lots of interesting questions. It's great to hear the questions that people come back with. And we had a pop-up on the online proctoring, this online security that you've just been asking Andy about. So that's gone well. Thank you. Yeah.
So you've been super busy at the conference by the sounds of things. Okay, so from everything that you've heard and seen, what kind of messages have resonated so far?
Oh, as a test developer, I'm hearing so I feel as if I'm here in so many capacities, but as a test developer, I have this kind of, I'm really interested in the sort of moral and ethical responsibilities we have. And there's lots of really good discussion around here. And you hear so often, the test has got to be right. If the test is right, then you are empowering and enabling our test takers to do the right thing. So at Language Cert, in my with my responsibilities as a test developer, it kind of hammers that home. You've got to get it right. As a linguist, I'm really interested in the significance of the language learning journey or journeys. And as a creator, I'm thinking, how do we kind of marry these things together? So we want a test that's going to be right. We want to maximize the benefits of the language learning journey. How can we do that creatively? And then I think, everywhere, again this year, everyone's talking about AI. I'm interested in, as a human, how do we wield that technology and leverage it to our advantage? So test developer, linguist, creator, human. There's been lots of stuff, and what's really resonated with me is the sort of conversation around skills agenda, because with my sort of creative hat on, I think that is a way that we can, as language learners, I think we have a lot of these skills already, inherent through having taken that language learning journey. So we're resilient, we're problem solvers. If we can't express something one way, we find another way to do it. We're empathetic, we've got sort of intercultural competence. There are lots of strengths inherent in language learners. And I've really enjoyed the sessions that I've been to that have been kind of exploring this. If language is power, what are the power skills we need? And my colleagues know I have this bugbear about them being called soft skills. I think, there are I've heard lots of really interesting ways to describe them at this conference. So skills for transformation, I like. We're talking about transitioning from school to university, from university onto the world of work. And thinking about the intersection of academic excellence, professional excellence, as well as personal growth and well-being. And at that intersection, I think there are some really important skills that, as a responsible test developer, maybe I have a kind of creative impetus to exploit and enhance. Okay, so the test is first and foremost English language proficiency, but I'm really interested in how we might test English language proficiency in a way that nurtures these really important skills. And our final session tomorrow, I think at 11:20, we have a panel discussion, and we're bringing some students with their own, to describe their own lived experience of what it is like to be an international student. I talked about the language learning journey. It's actually language learning journeys. So there's an academic journey, a professional journey, a social journey, cultural journey. There are all these journeys, and to just hear from students, this is such a great opportunity to hear from teachers. I love the IATEFL event for kind of putting you in touch with that. And I thought, let's get some students right into the heart of this debate. So I hope that's going to be, something of interest to everyone to come and hear.
Yep.
Of speaking with one of our recognising institutions, which is St Andrews University. We've got Professor Owen Jordan, who's fantastic, and he'll be there with a couple of students, and we're just going to explore those issues and where those intersections lie.
Seems
join us.
appropriate to have a Scottish stakeholder as we are in Edinburgh.
Yeah, absolutely. It does. So is this the signature event tomorrow?
Correct.
Brilliant. Okay, what time's that at? Just in case there's anyone that might be able to pop in.
20 past 11.
20 past 11. And room, do you know?
Sidlaw?
Oh, big
Did I
one.
pronounce that correctly?
I think so. I was wondering actually, what are the rooms named after? Is it people or places? Or I'm a bit ignorant in that respect. I wasn't sure.
Don't know. Pass on that question.
That's our homework.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, exactly. Well, good luck with integrating all of the things that you spoke about into testing. That is quite the task. So yeah, I'll be thinking about you and wishing you well. That's absolutely brilliant.
And thanks for the opportunity to talk about it.
I think it's necessary. I think we've evolved from where we were, and we need to bring these changes, I think, into testing and assessment, definitely. Aside from that mammoth task, what else is in the pipeline?
I think there are a few things coming and coming soon. We have been focusing on the recognition, which is so important for things like the academic test. We've got fantastic recognition from higher education universities. We're hoping to announce something at a sort of government ministry level, so imminently. So please watch this space. It's going to be very exciting. To take you back to where I was talking about the wider organization that we work with, and building on what Kathy's just been talking about there, about workplace readiness and so on, it could have maybe seemed to be an obvious starting point for us, but we're looking at ways of how the sort of language assessment can combine with those, other skills we're talking about and the other qualifications in computing and business and so on. So that's hopefully in development as well. In terms of how we support teachers, we've got more materials coming. We produce a lot of sort of webinars and papers and so on. We have lesson plans now coming out for our ESOL for Schools qualification. And we're also going to be introducing a digital test bank as well that people can access in 2025 as well. So yeah, lots in the pipeline.
Lots to keep you guys busy. Yeah, exactly. Well, thank you so much for coming in to talk to us this afternoon.
Thank you,
It's
Nikki.
so nice to know what's out there and what you guys are up to. Thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of the conference.
And you too, yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Ready to revolutionize your ELT courses? Introducing ITN Education's captivating videos, the key to transforming English language learning. With our expertly crafted content, we'll accelerate language acquisition like never before. Whether in class or online, our custom-built videos support your learning objectives. Discover ITN Education at IATEFL and elevate your ELT courses today. ITN Education, where learning comes to life.
Hi. Just like we're cutting them very short, the run in between interviews. But hi, welcome back, and I'm here with Vicky.
Hi.
Vicky, good to see you. Aside from all the fabulous things she does in Berlin as a teacher, Vicky is also on a very special committee.
Yes.
Can you tell me a bit about yourself and especially also the committee?
Yep. So I'm Vicky Allen, and I've been an IATEFL member for a few years now, and I teach in Berlin. I teach at the university level at a University of Applied Sciences. It's the Berlin School of Economics and Law, and I have a couple of roles here at IATEFL, and one of them is a member of the scholarship committee.
Before we talk about the scholarship committee, because that is on my list to talk, what other roles do you have?
I'm also the co-treasurer of a special interest group, so the Inclusive Practices and Special Educational Needs, the IPSENSIG. I'm co-treasurer there, so I wear a lot of volunteer hats.
Nice. It's always good to have multiple hats in the closet. So talk to me about the committee and the scholarship committee. How does it work?
Yeah, so as you may know, IATEFL offers over 20 different scholarships every year that people can apply for. And somebody or a group of people rather, has to coordinate all of this. And so our roles on the scholarship committee, they're quite varied. So on the one hand, we are in charge of finding people to actually sponsor these scholarships, to give their money, to send people to the conference, of course.
It's quite important, I imagine, yes.
We can't give scholarships without any money, and not all of them come from IATEFL. So that's important to note. So we reach out to a lot of different groups of people to get the money. For example, publishers. So if you're watching and you have a little bit of money to spare, definitely reach out to us in the scholarship committee. So it can be publishers, it can be language schools. It can really be anyone who just wants to give back to the IATEFL community, who's been able to come here on their own funds and really wants to open that door for other people.
Well, I can imagine that it's quite a good way to give back, because if you're a language school and university, I mean, this is not the kind of money that you or me will have lying around the house,
Right.
but if you are a school, this is good advertisement, I think, because all our scholarship winners are always like on the front page. They have their own posters. And also it's always mentioned which scholarship they've got. So it's a nice way to give back, because you're actually changing someone's life. But also it's a nice way to give back because it's free advertising. Well, it's not free. It's paid advertisement, but it's really good advertisement.
Yes, absolutely. And people can decide how much they would like to give. So we have scholarships that range from £500 up through all costs covered. So it really varies quite widely.
And I can imagine this is also interesting for people wanting to apply to a scholarship, because we are facing budget cuts. I think throughout the world, governments are thinking it's smart to budget on education. And I've spoken to many delegates so far who said, yes, I can go this year, but probably not another year, because I don't know if I even have a job, let alone if my university can sponsor this, if my school can sponsor this. But there are options that you get money reimbursed, or you get even all expenses, you said.
Exactly. Yeah.
That is a really interesting option.
Yes.
Tell me more.
So every scholarship is a little bit different. So it's important that if you do want to apply, you take a look at the description. There's a really handy summary sheet on the IATEFL scholarships website, which gives a very brief overview of all of them. I think it's even in table format, so it tells you how much is offered by each scholarship, if there's any kind of special criteria you have to fulfill, if you have to be perhaps a member of a specific SIG or come from a specific region somewhere in the world, or if you have to teach a specific group of students. And like I said, it can range from a smaller amount of money to full costs covered. So 2 years ago, I won one of the IATEFL scholarships, which was the Jill Sturtridge First Time Speaker Award. And that included covering the conference cost, a PCE, so a pre-conference event, free of cost, and also £1,000 in cash, which was great. So that covered that.
Really great.
So I know if you're from a little bit further afield than Europe, like myself, £1,000 might not get you particularly far, but it really covered all of my costs. It covered my hotel, my flights, and all of the money that I spent while I was in Harrogate for the week, because that was where we were.
But I can imagine there's lots of people watching from home who think, I'm not sure I can afford it, because let's be honest, that is a barrier. You need to have the time to go, you need to be allowed to go, but also you need to have the funds and the means to be able to go. It really helps.
I think it really does. I mean, definitely look at your own budget. If you do work for an institution that is willing to support you in travel, and you think, oh, you hear £1,000 and you think that's not going to get me very far, perhaps if you tell your institution, look, I'm getting part of the costs covered by IATEFL or by a publisher scholarship, can you fund me the rest of the way? I think that could be the convincing that they need to get you sent.
Yes, because as a teacher, that's also when I help my students, I love it when they've already helped themselves, you know. So you said there's over 20 scholarships.
Yes.
How hard is it to apply? Because now we're making everybody interested in saying, I want £1,000. I want all expenses covered. How difficult is it to get a scholarship?
It really depends on the scholarship. So like I said, some of them are quite open and almost anybody can apply. And some of them are a little bit more restricted. So like I said, you might have to be a member of a specific special interest group, or some are even for newer teachers. So you have to have been teaching for fewer than 5 years or fewer than 10 years. So, or the first time speaker one that I received, for example, you have to never have given a talk at IATEFL before, of course.
Yeah.
So some of them will naturally have fewer applicants than others. So it's really hard to say. The one that I read for this year's scholarship winners had over 200 applications. But there are some that have very small numbers. I mean, when I say very small, I'm talking perhaps single digits. So I would say if you are eligible for a scholarship, apply. And the wonderful thing is you can apply for multiple scholarships. Everything that you're eligible for, you can apply for.
That is good to know.
It really is. You can apply with the same application. So unless they require a specific essay or something, then that's going to be extra.
Yeah.
But you can apply, you can cover all of your bases. You can, of course, only win one.
Yeah.
But I think that makes the process quite user-friendly, and you really never know if you don't try. I think we had the scholarship winners gathering the other night, and I think it was Alex, the IATEFL president, who said, she quoted somebody else, but it was, if you're not in it, you can't win it. You know, you have to be in it to win it. And if you don't apply, you're never going to win. So you might as well try your luck.
Yeah, and I think some of us do really feel that if we're applying for I'm going to internship for a scholarship, we there are these barriers like, do I have the time? Of course, that's one that's worth to make. I think if you really want to attend, and it's good to know that for some of them apparently there are 200 applicants, so chances of getting it are a bit slimmer. But then there's also ones where you said, well, it's under 10 and it's close to 10. So those are really good odds.
Yes, I think so. I mean, we had roughly 960 total applicants for this cycle. And like I said, over 20 scholarships to choose from. The application deadline will be, the scholarships for next year, the applications will open at the end of this month, beginning of May. That's important to know. So they're not open yet. You still absolutely have time to apply for 2026.
Don't start Googling right now. Take a spring break, and then somewhere at the end of May, before the summer, for sure.
Yeah.
There will be the new scholarships online.
Yep. And the deadline will be in the summer, so usually end of June. I don't have specific dates for you yet. And then a lot of people also ask us if it's important to be an IATEFL member. You really have to look specifically at the scholarship overview. For some of them, you do not have to be a member, and that's important to know as well.
That is really good to know. So if you're watching this and you're not a member and you're not sure you can become a member funding-wise, you can actually still apply for scholarships.
Definitely.
And also good to know that it is a somewhat tight window. So before the summer, they'll be online, but before the summer, you also need to have applied.
Yes.
And as you said, some might require an essay, but some don't.
Yeah. So some might require a teaching concept, or some of them might require you to speak at the conference, in which case you'll also have to submit a proposal, of course. But I think it can really pay off. And in addition to the money, a lot of the scholarships also give you a year's IATEFL membership afterwards. So then, of course, that opens a whole world of recorded webinars and everything else that the IATEFL website has to offer. Yeah.
That's a really good deal.
Yeah, I think so too.
Any last words to whoever's watching and is still thinking, should I do it? Should I apply for a scholarship? Or also, very important, anyone watching who thinks maybe I should fund a scholarship, because there are no scholarships without people funding them.
Right, absolutely. Well, I mean, hopefully I've managed to convince you to apply. I think if you have the time, as you said, it is quite a tight window, but if you have the time, even if you don't have the time, I really think it's worth the investment. And you really never know unless you try. And after 5 years, you can apply and get another scholarship.
Really? Once every 5 years, you can be a winner. Now, that really is being a winner. Every 5 years again.
Right. I have met somebody who's won it twice. And then, of course, if you are interested in getting your name out there and putting your name towards a scholarship, of course, we're always looking for people who want to sponsor something, a recurring scholarship every year. But even if you think you can only do it for 1 year, think about your community and the people that you wish to help, people that you want to see at IATEFL conferences, and put your money there, because that's really one of the best ways to bring people to the conference who might not have the opportunity otherwise. So please do get in touch with us at the Scholarship Committee.
Love it. Love it. So just do it. Whoever you are, whether you want to give money, time, what you just want to ask for a scholarship, just do it. Just do it.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
Did you know the National Museum of Scotland houses over 20,000 artefacts? It's a treasure trove of history and innovation. Explore everything from ancient Egyptian relics to cutting-edge technology, all under one roof. Don't miss Dolly the sheep, the first cloned mammal, and the impressive T-Rex skeleton. Whether you're a history buff or curious explorer, the National Museum of Scotland offers endless discoveries. And we're back. Hello again. And this time we are joined by Jacqueline and Alistair. Hello.
Hello.
How are you both doing?
Yeah, really well, actually. It's great to be here as ever.
The usual conference energy is fabulous.
Absolutely. It does, isn't it? Everyone's kind of like glowing a little bit, even though they're exhausted.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so much going on, lots to do, and great city to be in.
Absolutely. So tell us, what do you guys do? What brings you to IATEFL?
Okay, so in my working life, I'm a senior lecturer in English language teaching at Anglia Ruskin University in Cambridge, and I'm also a freelance CELTA Delta trainer and assessor.
And Jacqueline?
I'm a freelance tutor. I work mainly on CELTA, but not exclusively, and I'm based in Cambridgeshire.
Lovely. So there's a lot of interest here for you guys.
Oh, hugely. Yeah.
Absolutely, yes.
And have you seen anything particularly inspiring, or what has inspired you at the moment or at IATEFL?
Okay. What often happens at IATEFL, and it's worked its magic again this year, is it's not so much individual talks that I go to, but just the sort of sum result of that I end up feeling so inspired and so regenerated and reinvigorated that I've now got this little project that I'm thinking about asking other people to work on with me, and I love that. I wouldn't have got to that point without IATEFL.
Oh, that's lovely. That's really lovely. Do you want to share it, or is it still top secret?
I don't think it's top secret, and it might not go anywhere, but it doesn't matter. It's that catalyst to get me alive again. It's because I think I miss working with in-service teachers in an in-service teaching context, because I do a lot of CELTA.
So they're pre-service, yeah.
Yeah, and I find that when I'm running a CELTA which is obviously pre-service, with a group of teachers who are either all or mostly experienced, I tend to stray a little bit into in-service training to meet their needs because they have got experience. So I think that this conference has really brought things into sharp focus for me that I probably want to work more in that area. So possibly even devising my own training course in some way to support, not with an external certificate at the end, but just learning for its own sake for those who have a growth mindset. So that's what I've been thinking about today.
And there's always room for that, I think, isn't there? Because regardless of your context, some people still feel very alone, especially at universities.
Yes.
And so it's so lovely to have perhaps a bit more CPD.
Yes.
So, good luck with that. That's a lovely idea. Oh.
For me, this is my CPD in many ways. Obviously, I do lots of reading of research papers and so forth, but actually the being in this space with real people and being able to talk about things is hugely important. And I also love coming to the conference because it just gives me the opportunity to meet up with people that, to be honest, I see once a year, quite honestly, but also occasionally bump into trainees that I've met online, never in person, and they come running up to you and you think it's fantastic to actually see people for real.
That's really sweet, isn't it? But isn't it funny, even though you see these people once a year, it feels like it was yesterday.
It does.
And you just pick up from where you left off and off you go.
Yeah, as Anna Hasper says, my tribe, you come and you just have a hug fest.
Yeah, exactly. So as well as catching up with people and being inspired, you presented at the conference?
We have. Actually, this is a first because we've spoken individually at IATEFL many times in the past. But this year, for the first time ever, we spoke together.
Let's start there.
People said to us, you spoke together, you're speaking together. Is that going to be all right?
Was it?
Yeah. It was all right.
So, yeah.
Okay, so what prompted the union after so many years solo?
Well, I suppose it's just we were sitting, scratching our heads, thinking, right, what might we talk about next? And we both kind of came to the same point at the same time. We thought, well, actually, if we both got a similar idea, let's merge it into one talk. which is duly what we did. So we kind of talked about things relating to CELTA and our life as CELTA assessors and Jacqueline's at JCA, and things that we've
It's a joint chief assessor, isn't it? Yeah.
Sorry, yes, that's right. Yes, and just things that we've noticed when we've been assessing courses, and thought that there are things we can help trainers with who maybe don't get much opportunity to hear other voices.
Yeah, so it was a bit bottom up, really. The idea came from what we'd already been seeing and having those repeated conversations with centres who maybe aren't as aware because they don't have the breadth of exposure to different ideas with people coming in. They're always working with the same people, or maybe they work on one course a year and they do what they've always done successfully. But then they, oh, really? Can you do that? So, it came from bottom up, really. And it was good. We got a good audience.
That's very important.
Yeah. Lots of CELTA tutors in the audience, so
that's brilliant.
Hopefully the message is out there now, so we're very happy about that.
Oh, that's brilliant. And can you share any? So for anyone at home, CELTA, it can be a 4-week intensive course, or it can be longer.
Yes.
And at the end, it has to be externally assessed. So these are the findings from the assessments. Can you share anything like interesting with us that maybe is applicable to other contexts as well, not just CELTA? I don't mean to put you on the spot.
That's an interesting one.
Question. I suppose one of the things that is important when you're actually assessing courses is just seeing what's actually happening on the course. And maybe if it's a course that has a set of criteria, using the criteria as flexibly as you can do to actually fit what you see happening. So that if you're watching someone teaching and assessing their teaching, view it more as a case of, well, what are they doing and how does that fit the criteria, rather than here are the criteria and are they ticking the boxes? I think that's probably an important way.
And I think probably in the same direction as that, we surveyed some other assessors to get their kind of wisdom as to inspiration that they'd seen and maybe innovative ideas they'd seen. And a thread that came up from that survey was the idea of making input more trainee centered. So
that's huge.
The word emergent has come up in the conference a lot this year, and we applied that to our talk and said maybe having student centered or trainee centered input where you're focusing on those themes that come up in teaching practice. As a tutor, you reflect and consult your colleagues and say, okay, so there's a bit of a need to focus on that area, very much trainee led. And so we're calling it emergent training.
You heard it here first.
Yes.
I mean, that's just common sense, isn't it? It's absolutely fantastic to reiterate that message, or to make that, give that message.
So often trainers feel like they have to do the session and this is how we've always done it. And okay, there's merit in that, but equally reacting to what you're seeing and where the needs of the trainees are is so important.
And it's what we tell the trainee teachers, isn't it? We're always saying react to the students and don't teach the plan, teach the learners.
Precisely. So it works at the other level as well when you're dealing with the teachers themselves. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, but I think this is also really important to state, because maybe some trainers and centres might think that you have to stick quite rigidly.
Correct.
I think that's it, particularly if you're a centre or a trainer that doesn't do too many courses and isn't hearing other voices frequently. There is this danger that you kind of get stuck into a rut of what you do and feel like you can't go outside that. And I think that was one of the kind of key messages we wanted to get across in our talk, was the idea of within a course like CELTA, for example, there is a lot of flexibility. Actually, yes, there are criteria and there are guidelines and there are some rules you've got to follow. But beyond that, it is not prescriptive at all. And you can divide up the cake in all sorts of different ways.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that what was so good about the audience that we got is they were obviously ready for those messages about making it more trainee centered and all the things that you might, the good practice we've seen with using technology. So that ed is the first part, and it's about ed, not tech. Yeah.
And how is CELTA reacting to all the changes with AI and its potential use or misuse?
Wow, that's a really good question. I think one of the things that's not clear at the moment is just how far things will go. But again, if you look at the criteria and the guidance from Cambridge, it's clear that AI can be used, but it just has to be acknowledged. And that's the crucial thing. And so one of the things that we were saying is that actually embrace it, use it, train your trainees to be able to use it, but just make sure that they know when to actually acknowledge what they're doing. But if they want to use AI to help them with lesson planning or creating materials or adapting materials, that's absolutely fine, as long as it's made clear that's what you're doing.
I think that's right. So the two strands there are honesty, fess up that you've used it and credit that, and also criticality, so that you're not just taking what it says verbatim, but you're using it wisely for the benefit of your students.
You see, because this is where I'm in a quandary, because I also work with pre-service teachers, and I do wonder, I know that AI can make planning very fast, but I'm not 100% convinced that it creates well-staged logical plans.
No, agreed.
And if you don't know how it should look, then is the tool going to be beneficial for you?
Well, I totally agree, and that's why I think having sessions on lesson planning on pre-service courses is still vital, because once the trainees have an idea of what a good lesson would look like, the kind of shape it might be, for example, that's so important, because they then can actually look at what AI generates and say, well, that doesn't seem to make sense. That stage should be before this one.
Yeah,
but you need to know that, don't you?
Exactly.
Before...
And they need support.
Yeah.
So to help them to get to good prompt engineering, not everybody, but some of the cohort will need support. And I think that's our job as tutors, not just for the CELTA or whichever training course you're working on, but beyond, into their staff room, because that is going to be happening in the place they work, and it will help them if they've already been supported in doing it well.
Absolutely. Yeah, fantastic words of advice. Love it.
Thank you.
But I think it's so important. I think CELTA is one of those qualifications that for many is the beginning of an incredible journey in teaching.
Well, it is. I mean, what's so interesting as well is that not only is it the beginning for many people, it's often a new beginning for many people, because I think what's changed, certainly over the 20 odd years I've been a CELTA trainer, is the kind of profile of typical trainees. That when I first started, virtually all of them were novice teachers. They'd never taught before in any way. And now you quite often get people with a fair degree of teaching experience who actually want to have the qualification, and therefore what the qualification is giving them is a different direction and maybe a different perspective. And that can be quite challenging, because we may be having to say that what they've been doing for the last however many years actually isn't very effective. So challenging those preconceived ideas. But on the other hand, it can be hugely beneficial in the sense that they're coming on the course with some of the perhaps classroom management type skills already in place, and instead we're just adjusting what they're doing.
Yeah.
So it's very good for all concerned.
It is indeed. Yeah.
I completely agree with you. Keep spreading that message.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, do you have any last plans for Edinburgh? How long are you here for? Are you leaving today, tomorrow?
Lunchtime.
Tomorrow lunch. Oh, gosh, so you've got the rest of today and this evening. Have you got any wild plans?
Well, the quiz, obviously.
Yeah, quiz evening
I came
tonight.
third last year.
Did
so
you?
we're
Well
really pleased on
done.
that.
Do you have what's your team's name?
We don't know yet,
Okay.
because we're hoping that when we arrive, there'll be a couple of people that want to be in a team with us, so we can,
So if anyone's watching and wants to be in the team with Jacqueline and
We're
Alistair.
not brilliant, but we're not bad.
Fair enough.
Just
Okay.
enjoying the sunshine of Edinburgh, because it's such a lovely city. And we've been so lucky with the weather. It's extraordinary.
It's been
Unbelievable,
beautiful. It's one
isn't
of the
it?
best cities in the world, and to see it in sunshine is just fabulous.
Couldn't ask for more.
No.
Oh,
exactly.
listen, I'm not going to keep you, but I am going to say thank you so much. And
welcome. Thank you.
you for
Nice to
everything.
meet you.
Lovely to meet you guys as well. Enjoy the rest of Edinburgh and the conference. And yes, I should be looking out for your new CPD course.
Oh, thank you very much.
Thanks, guys. All the best.
Bye-bye,
Okay,
Nikki.
thanks a lot. Cheers.
And we're back, and I'm back here with Dan. Now, Dan is a very important man because I've been told you are, and it's on the record. It's on the record. You can watch it back.
Tell my wife that as well.
She can watch it too. Because we're talking.
My 5 kids. Sorry, that's what it tickled me.
We talk to a lot of sponsors, but you actually sponsor us, as in not just IATEFL, but actually our stand has ITN logo, everything on it. Could you, before we start talking about ITN, because as a second language learner not based in the UK, I have no idea who it is. But first, can you tell us a bit about yourself?
Yeah, I mean, me or ITN?
First, you.
See, I feel like I'm a bit of an imposter in my background's actually in the music business. So I trained as a pianist and majored in jazz piano at the Royal Academy in the early 90s. So I come to London as a gigging musician, and how times have changed in the last 30 years. So I ended up working in a rock and roll studio for years, and then moved. I've actually been at ITN now for 18 years. So essentially I've been involved in the media business, making content in one way or another, digital media content, for 30 years. So I saw an opportunity 10 years ago to, I mean, I've got 5 kids, and I saw how they were consuming content and how they were revising and how they were studying in class. And so I saw an opportunity, given that ITN has such a rich collection of authentic materials going back 70 years, how we could repurpose that and perhaps help our publishing partners and ultimately teachers and students acquire either languages, or in this case, we started off with the sciences, acquire their classroom skills, easier than a traditional sort of textbook method.
Wow, so you went from rock and roll because of your kids to English, basically.
It's bizarre how we ended up in the English language space. ITN's actually been involved in education for about 25 years. We had a partnership with Espresso Education, which we sold, which was in partnership with Lewis Bronze and his now Sensations English business. We sold that to Discovery Education in 2013. So we produce a daily news service for Discovery Education for the primary market in the UK. So that is a sort of a rolling news service. And
because that was the other question. What's ITN? ITN makes news.
So
reports news.
ITN is a. I mean, now we are a global content powerhouse. We had 7.2 billion views of our digital content last year. We film about 10 hours of content a day. We hit about 10 million people in British homes from a news perspective.
Those are
but we
impressive
also
numbers.
produce documentaries like Ancient Apocalypse for Netflix and other broadcast materials. So we're essentially a big TV company that has interests in education as well.
We're honored to be sponsored by such a big media company who's on Netflix, and obviously you do understand that the three of us are getting this and are going to sort of be in the cloud and we have movie star aspirations now.
You can come down to our studios anytime you like. You're more than welcome. We can broadcast from the ITN studios if you like.
Georgia is already saying we will.
Yeah, big thumbs up
I'll come back for that one.
Brilliant.
But you said ITN has been involved in education for a longer time. What do you do other than all the cool Netflix stuff that I'd love to talk about? What do you do specifically for education?
So it's interesting. So we have, as a byproduct of producing this much content for 70 years, we've amassed a huge archive of what is mostly English language, real people in real situations, using real language, if you like. So it's very, very authentic. And we got, I think, just over 1 million clips in our archive bank. So I saw an opportunity 10 years ago of repurposing that content for language learning. It was all in English language. We actually were looking at what we could do in the science market and perhaps the higher ed you know, for academic purposes, because we've got so much historically important material. But you know, one of our biggest customers, partners, Pearson, come to us and said, look, we love the content, but we need to wrap some context around it. So it went from being almost like a clip sales business, if you like, into a production service that featured authentic materials. And then we started out with Business Partner. I think it was our first big project with Pearson. And then we've done many more since then. Last year, I think we produced over 600 ELT videos alone. So that gives you an idea of the scale, you know, that ITN brings.
Yeah.
And we built up a real specialist team of writers. Now we have, you know, animators on board, producers, researchers. So, and they're all staff as well. So, you know, we can keep everything in house. We have the ability to scale. We've got 60 Avid suites at ITN. So if we need to produce thousands of content, thousands of videos, we can do it. You know, and some of the, there's been some really interesting product launches here this year, and listening to some of the conversations around what I'm calling video as a service. It's like this sort of Netflix subscription type service.
Yeah.
The teachers are looking for instant content. The way things are moving so fast, you know, we love our publishing partners, but they'll tell you themselves that it takes a long time to, you know, to write and print a book.
Yeah.
A teacher student book. You know, sometimes those production cycles can be anything up to 3 years. And you imagine how you can know how much the world has changed in the last 3 years. So any content we're writing now for them, and that's not going to be published until next year or the year after, you know, could be out of date. So we're looking at ways in which we can turn content around instantly, and, you know, and use our live TV or instant, you know, broadcast experience and point that towards the ELT space.
So, sort of new developments in terms of, is there a faster way for teachers to get authentic materials other than through the books from publishers?
Yeah, I mean the teachers are using content anyway, right? They'll find it on eltreels.com, that has, you know, is freely available. We're playing with at the moment. We're building a catalogue of leveled videos that come with activities and grammar and vocab points, and it's all authentic material that we've recycled from our newsrooms. That is a content that is sort of, if they need a trusted source, that is something that we, you know, that we can offer. But I'm also talking to or looking at ways in which we can, you know, really scale as a technology is developing so quickly, how ITN can sort of remove itself from the sort of synthetic Gen AI content that there is going to be a wash of very, very soon, and actually still deliver that trusted premium product that they would expect from, you know, someone like ITN. So again, but it being real people talking about real things. And
Mr. Real, I think, is very important here, especially as you mentioned AI. People keep saying AI will replace everything, all of us. At some point, we'll just be this conversation will just be artificial intelligence to artificial intelligence. But I can imagine if you're creating videos, we've seen that AI is good at also creating videos. It's getting better and better, which brings worries about fake news. It brings worries about all sorts of things. What's it like as a, you know, organization that makes videos?
I mean, we love it. Right? And we
really?
Yeah, I mean, ITN's sort of in two camps. Obviously, we have our trusted news business, and our broadcast partners like ITV, Channel 4 and Channel 5 expect us to have eyewitness reporting, to fact check, double check everything before it gets broadcast. You know, that's what they pay us to deliver, and that will continue. But in our, you know, creative studios business, we're looking at ways in which we can, another tool in the edit suite. And we've already adopted some of the tools, some of the AI tools, to help us with things like, you know, animation, textures, or even sort of, you know, first draft scripts, or even, you know, some of the narration tools are getting really, really good. They're not perfect by any means. We haven't got into using Gen AI for video creation yet. I don't think it's there yet. But the more we sort of play with it and the more we experiment and beta test materials, the more we actually lean back and see even more value in the authentic content. You know, someone sat here, you know, having a conversation, that we're real people. And I think the students and teachers will, you know, will expect that. I think that the kids will see a fake. You know, I think we can still tell at the moment, and I think I'd be very surprised if someone would be really fooled by AI.
At the moment, you said, but it is getting better, and I think it's very good that there's this distinction between real news, real people, fact-checked information, and as a teacher, we need to know too. I mean, we don't have the reach in millions as ITN does, but if I'm using materials in my class, I don't want to also say this happened and later find out it didn't.
And I think it's for people like us and our publishing partners to ensure that we're producing products that differentiates itself from, you know, what the teachers can create. If the teachers are creating that content, then they don't need the publishers, and the publishers, you know, then won't need us. So it's our job to make sure that what we're producing is premium, trusted, leveled, somewhere you can go to where you know you've got the right materials that are going to work in class. I think I don't know if you tried any sort of video generation tools. You can spend more time trying to prompt Runway or you know, Synthesia or something than actually if you just go and film it yourself.
Yes, true. At the moment, very, very true. There's so many mistakes in it. I haven't used it myself, especially the video ones, not, but for pictures, yes. I did a poster presentation earlier. It's so easy copyright-wise to just have AI create your pictures, but I think I had to ask it 5 times just to spell a word right, because, you know, like you said, it's too easy yet to spot the mistakes, and it's not right.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned copyright. That's quite a big word in our business, and I think, you know, we're monitoring what's going on. You know, our archive has a value, and we want to make sure that is protected. You know, we're aware that lots of the early generation video creation tools were scraping, you know, content from everywhere, probably including our content as well. But I still think that and hope that, you know, teachers and students are looking for, you know, quality content. If you look at the type of broadcast materials we're putting out on Netflix, for example, there's a big gulf between that and something you can, you know, generate on you know, one of these AI tools. But you're right, it is getting better. We are constantly testing new releases, new products, new technology. I think it's for us to stay one step ahead. I'm quite glad that there's, I mean, last year everyone was talking about AI. This year it's less of a conversation. I think it's been adopted as a tool, and no one's as scared of it as they were. I don't think it's replacing any jobs just yet. So, you know, if we can use it for our benefit, then great. But I still think, you know, authentic materials have significant value in the classroom. Definitely.
And you said there's a platform, eltreal.com.
ELT Reels, yes. ELT Reels, REELS.com.
Yes, the youngster.
As in Insta Reels. You know, that.
Sorry, third day of the conference. I have to start thinking about the thing spelled.
My entry levels
but like the youngster Reels, not real, but like online Reels videos.
ELTreals.com. And again, we're looking at, we almost have an infinite library of materials in our archives, and we're sort of going, okay, how can we, you know, how can we adapt that? Does it have value? Clearly, we're not going to, you know, use it to compete with our customers, but I think it's been quite it's been nice to have the freedom to be able to create our own library, and, you know, watch this space. You know, over the next few months and years, I'm having some very interesting conversations, which is why, you know, we come to these shows, and this one in particular is, you know, very good.
It's always good to hear. So if I'm a teacher and I'm going to eltreals.com, what will I find there? So you said it's authentic materials. What kind of materials?
That's 102-year-old skydiving granny.
Oh,
the cheese rolling competition.
cheese rolling, skydiving grannies.
You know, it's interesting materials, and what you'll find is the narration is all leveled to on the CEFR, and then you'll.
So I can find per group. So if I'm teaching A2 or B1, I can just look up those levels and find the cheese rolling that's appropriate for that. Oh, wow.
And then you'll have suggested activities. The key vocab and grammar points, and some suggested activities you can run in class. So
I love that, and it's free.
It's free.
It's absolutely free. I love that. So publishers will make everything for us, like the assignments, write it all out, nothing to do for us. This is with enough pointers for us that we don't really have to just scour the news to find something. We can actually look up per level. There's ideas there, but it gives us the freedom to make it work in our classroom.
Yeah, I mean, we only launched it a few weeks ago, so it's a brand new product. But we are going to be populating the platform with more and more content as we go forward. And I would love some feedback. My email address is at the bottom of the website, so you can send me some, requests like this is great, but have you got something like that? Then and the Hen Hotel.
Georgia is holding up a post-it. She wants something on a hen hotel.
It's a video.
Oh, it is a video
about a hotel for hens. It's just like, so it's visually stimulating. The story is great. The narration is leveled, and then you've got half a lesson written for you as well if you go on it.
Brilliant. So hen hotels, skydiving grannies, rolling cheese rolling, whatever. But it's all there.
Have you heard of cheese rolling before? You know what that is?
Yes, actually I have. And no. I hear it's dangerous.
It's
like people get injured
dangerous.
doing cheese rolling.
Injured. Broken legs, hips, knees.
But
arms.
It's one of those sort of quintessentially British things that it was in all the course books I used when I was teaching secondary school. We all talked about the cheese rolling, and I was quite disappointed when I got here to find out that you guys don't all roll cheese here. I mean, I don't think it's even legal to do it anymore because so many people got injured.
No, they still do it.
Legally, or
I couldn't possibly say, but I know that they still do it. We're quite often asked to produce videos around British culture, and and lots of people are expecting that to be the Royals or some London thing. Certainly not skydiving grannies or cheese rolling competitions or hen hotels. I mean, it's a little bit left field.
I love it. I mean, I know what I'll be Googling after this show. But first, any last words to people watching from home, other than that they really need to check out eltreels.com?
I just wish the people at home were here. I think it's a great opportunity to it's such a relationship based business, and I love that. And so we come here to to meet, and it's great to see familiar faces all the time just walking around. That's my only thing. I think final words would be get down to Brighton next year and do it again. It was lovely and sunny there. I actually went swimming in Brighton last year.
Really? Georgia kept threatening that we were going swimming as a team, but
it was cold, but it was good fun. So I'm looking forward to doing that again next year.
Brilliant. So anyone watching, eltreels.com should keep you entertained until next year when we see you in Brighton. Then I want to talk backstage to you about our Netflix debut, which obviously the three of us now want to make. And enjoy the rest of the show.
Thank you.
Ready to revolutionize your ELT courses? Introducing ITN Education's captivating videos, the key to transforming English language learning. With our expertly crafted content, we'll accelerate language acquisition like never before. Whether in class or online, our custom-built videos support your learning objectives. Discover ITN Education at IATEFL and elevate your ELT courses today. ITN Education, where learning comes to life.
Good morning, I'm Natasha Koenen from Belgium. I'm here to represent our teaching association, BELTA, and I have been enjoying meeting all those people here at the conference, and there have been some lovely presentations. I learned an awful lot of new things about AI and also the way in which to present things in classes, so it's really a wonderful experience and I'm very grateful for being here. Bye!
But if we kind of... Hello, welcome back, everybody. I'm now joined in the studio by Samiha. Hello.
Hello, nice to meet you.
It's
there.
lovely to meet you too.
Yeah.
How are you doing?
Great, wonderful, excited. I feel enthusiastic very much, and I can't believe that tomorrow will be the last day of the conference. Time flies.
It does. It has gone incredibly fast.
Yeah. Time flies, really.
And so, Samiha, this is your first conference.
Yes, I'm from Egypt. I work at Al-Azhar. I'm a teacher educator with the British Council. And fortunately, the first time to be here. Yeah.
And has it fulfilled your expectations, or how do you feel about it?
Actually, it went beyond my expectations. For me, I feel that my dreams came true. And for me, the idea of attending the conference is not about just attending sessions and gathering information, but it's bigger than that, that you meet teachers from different contexts, from different nationalities, different background, and that we share learning, passion, and experience with each other. So in this way, we build a network of communication and community of practice. So yesterday, I met teachers from Brazil, Cameroon, Siberia, Ireland, and it was a very amazing, unique experience for me. As I met David, the storyteller. I attended a session with Harry Kocha, and it was something like performance. It was really amazing. Today, for example, I have attended a session in the morning, the plenary, and it was about how to change our ideas about research and how to be an attitude, not just a task imposed on us or for something to be achieved and done, and that's all. The presenter took it a step further when he suggested that why not encourage our learners to be co-researchers, and I like the idea very much.
So is this something you're going to try when you get back to Egypt?
Yes, I can't wait to try it with my learners, especially when you encourage them and tell them you are a researcher. You will do something, and we can also add something, how to be safe online, how to be careful when you quote information, that you have to paraphrase it, not to copy and paste. You have to respect others' ideas, and how to work in a team, how to self-regulate and organize yourselves, how to be careful about the time, not to spend too much time online or surfing the internet, how to organize your time. And so, it will be different perspectives from this point.
Yeah, and this is fantastic. And you work with younger learners, don't you? So this is something that will be very, very beneficial for them.
Yes, I teach a primary and prep stage. And once I tried with primary learners to do research about chameleon, how it changes the color.
Oh, yes.
Yes, and I tried to draw it, how its eyes go all around and all. And after they did the research, we shared the video in the classroom together. It was amazing. You just reminded me with this lesson.
Oh, that's lovely.
Yeah.
And so you can go back and perhaps start doing even more research
I'll
with
add
them.
more. And by the way, on day one of the conference, he was presenting.
Well, this is what I was going to ask you. So not only did you attend for the first time and meet a lot of people, try a lot of new things, but you had a presentation. Okay. Tell us what the presentation was about.
It was day one, and I felt that my heart was racing. So the first time for me, I conduct workshops with teachers, but inside my school or my institution. But globally, it was for me a very hard racing experience. But I tried to keep still and be. My colleagues actually backed me up. It was about implementing trauma-informed strategies to support refugee learners, and how to create and build sensitive classrooms and sensitive schools that are aware and sensitive before informed to be more inclusive for refugees.
And so for anyone watching who wasn't able to attend the session, could you give us some tips, some ways of actually creating these inclusive, sensitive classrooms?
This is what actually happened because of their own capacity. A large number missed the session, but I can share with you some strategies. The first one, how to create a safe and comfort environment where they can trust you because they have went through a horrible journey. Refugee learners who are living in conflict affected areas or suffer from persecution or maybe natural disasters, so they are forced to leave their homes and countries and in order to escape or be displaced. The first thing, what we call sometimes the opposite of trauma, is to feel safety and comfort and the trust. The first thing you have to set routines and to be predictable. If you want to change something, you have to tell them in advance, so they are not worry all the time about what could happen, what ifs. So you be predictable, set routines, create a safe environment in the classroom. Maybe you add something like my quiet corner, safe corner, where learners can retreat or break from hustle and bustle around them. Another strategy which is I recommend implementing and fostering social emotional learning, how it helps them to normalize how they feel. It's normal to have feelings, but how can we navigate them? How to have emotional regulation and self-awareness, social awareness, how to be able to deal with others, respect others, and on the other hand, build the trust.
So how would you, could you give us a tip for teaching learners how to do this?
To practice and exercise mindfulness, to improve my self-image. And it's okay if I'm worried or having some troubles. It's okay. I have to accept this. Then we'll be able to control and regulate. And it's said that if you are able to name it, you can tame it. So some exercises like mindfulness, deep breathe, and so on. This will be helpful.
And so this is something that we can practice in the classroom in order to help them feel safe.
This will be the first on my top list. When I go back home, I'll try to foster social emotional learning more, work on it more.
Best of luck with that. I mean, it's super important and super helpful.
Thank you very much.
And I think it's it also, when we're relaxed and we feel safe, then I think learning is much easier, isn't it?
If my trauma doesn't only affect someone physically, but it affects academic well-being and emotional well-being as well. So if I'm stressed, I'm worried, or I'm overreacting, this will obstacle or I'll not achieve any academic success. So the first step, I have to gain my resilience, be more resilient, and after that, academic well-being will be achieved. So emotional well-being, then academic well-being.
Very wise words. Thank you. And you're so popular that people couldn't even get into the room, could they? There were so many people that wanted to see you.
Especially that I've invited some colleagues from Ukraine and they were waiting. Some of them also were from Cameroon, but the room was locked and they full number, full number, and they wished if it was bigger for more space to attend.
So maybe you can come and do it
I'm
next
ready
year.
to share the slides with them.
Oh, that's lovely.
Or my email to get some of them. After the session, we met outside and we shared our emails together. And I'm really proud and I'm very helpful to share with them and share passion and experience and take back home.
Absolutely. That's what it's all about.
Yes.
That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
And so today is the last day, well, the penultimate day of the conference. Tomorrow is the last day. Do you have anything that you're really looking forward to seeing or doing whilst you're still here?
I hope that it will be more extra days that I can cover attending more sessions and getting in touch with more people from different nationalities, to do something like cultural exchange and learning about different contexts with teachers, how about their classes, and more and more about AI. This is worrying me too much in our classes.
It's worrying you?
Yeah, because most of learners now skip their homework and let the task done by the AI for them. So maybe this will be working on next conference.
I mean, this is something we're all dealing with at the moment, isn't it?
I wanted to focus on the
what
impact
to do with AI.
of AI on our learners.
Okay.
Something like pros and cons. How can we make it more, make the best of it for our learners, not to make them lazy. Yes, and not all the time be hiding behind the screens. It's all about to be present in person, chatting as we do now.
Absolutely.
Yes, to be present, to socialize with others, and this is all about.
Right, I think you've got your topic there for the next conference.
You know, after the pandemic, there was lockdown.
Yeah,
I feel that it's happening, but in different lens. AI made people or learners live in a lockdown, but not because of the pandemic, because of something else, which is artificial intelligence locked them. They are no longer able to socialize with their colleagues or go and have a walk, chat in person. So this is what I'm still working on, and I feel that it needs more to dig about.
I mean, this is very interesting, and we'll see what happens, whether or not there'll be a swing the other way back to face, or whether they're going to get deeper and deeper into technology. We will see. Well, thank you so much. Actually, one last question. If you could describe IATEFL and your experience in one word or one or two words, what would it be?
It's like spring that when it arrives, flowers bloom.
That's so beautiful. It is, though, isn't it? It's just absolutely, it's beauty,
bloom
it's inspiration.
All levels. We bloom. That is what I really feel. Made us as teachers, we bloom because IATEFL is like the spring, and I think it's a spring in Edinburgh now. And it's sunny and lovely. By the way, it's not raining, so I'm lucky.
Very.
The weather is yes. Before I come here, I checked the weather. Get your coats, raincoat, umbrella. It will be raining, but it was very sunny. And flowers, lovely flowers, different colors everywhere. So it's blooming everywhere.
There we go. So spring inside and outside of the conference.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's on that note. I'm going to say thank you very much for joining us this afternoon.
Thank you very much.
Really glad that you're enjoying the conference.
And a wonderful opportunity to give me a voice.
That's what it's all about.
Yes. Give me a voice and at the same time listening to me. Okay, thank you. It was a wonderful experience.
Thank you.
I can't thank you enough. Really.
All the best.
Thank you.
Anka, how's your afternoon been?
I don't know. I'm still thinking about skydiving grandmas. I mean, like I said, you always learn so many things. And I think we especially started the week at PCE learning about a Danish expression.
Yeah,
in
Danish
the
surnames and
pre-conference. I heard like a Texan, it's all chickens or feathers, and now I know it's milk is for milk and water is for water. I love
what
languages.
does it mean?
It means not to water the milk. Or milk to, as a vegan, not to milk the water. Because lactose intolerant, I won't be having it.
Okay. I need to think about that one. Okay.
But that's what I love about expressions. Expressions are so cultural. And I think we all have our crazy things. If I get really excited about an expression back home, people will genuinely think I'm crazy. Here, Nikki still does. But she understands the crazy, you know, and that's one of the things I absolutely love about IATEFL. I learn so much.
Crazy.
And I'm crazy, but I learned so many crazy things that I can share with other crazy people. Like, yeah, fantastic. How was your afternoon?
Oh yeah, no, I loved it. Really, really, really great conversations with people. And again, just learning so much and different contexts and different experiences. And yeah, it's just a joy, as always. As always.
It's a joy.
It is, exactly. And that is the end of the show this afternoon. That's unbelievable.
It flew by.
It did. And tomorrow, sadly, that's our last day. It's last day of conference. And actually, conference finishes slightly earlier. So the show tomorrow is between 10 and 11. So
UK time.
UK time. Yeah, exactly. So make sure that you tune in. Don't miss that, because we'll bring you lots of lovely things from the last day. So you can stay with us for that too. So yeah,
we'll
see you all tomorrow.